The death of cool, losing your image, risking embarrassment, and becoming real. Why ego death, visible failure, and stylistic collapse are spiritual initiations for the black sheep becoming the GOAT. Welcome back. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and this is The Black Sheep Becomes the GOAT, a series dedicated to those who were rejected, mocked, or underestimated, not because they were broken, but because they were blueprint breakers. Today's episode is one of the most brutally honest chapters in this evolution, the death of cool. That awkward, cringeworthy, publicly uncomfortable chapter where the black sheep is no longer who they were, but not yet who they're becoming. This is the part almost no one prepares you for. It's not glamorous. It's not inspiring in the moment. It doesn't look like a phoenix rising. It looks like a person losing followers, questioning their choices, and stumbling through what seems like failure. This is the death of the curated identity, the version of you that was socially digestible, aesthetically pleasing, and externally affirmed. The moment you begin to follow your real calling, that version dies. Maybe it starts with changing your message, your tone, your look. Your values shift, and the people who once praised you go quiet. The algorithm stops favoring your posts. Your friends stop reaching out. Your engagement drops. Your name doesn't ring the same. And suddenly, you are confronted with something deeply spiritual. Who are you when you're no longer being applauded? This is the true spiritual test of the black sheep on the climb up what we call cringe mountain, the mountain of self-becoming. It's the phase between being rejected by the system you came from and not yet being crowned in the system you're creating. The climb is not just external, it's internal. You begin shedding everything that made you palatable in the eyes of others. You start speaking in your true voice, and it sounds weird at first. You start dressing in a way that reflects your soul, and it doesn't look polished. You launch new projects that barely get noticed. You take risks that flop publicly. You change directions, pivot again, and question if you've lost your mind. But what's actually happening is that you're being initiated into authenticity. This is the death of your performance identity. The version of you that was built to survive, to please, to blend in, or to earn love. It's the death of the illusion that success comes from being liked, understood, or accepted. Because for the black sheep, true success doesn't come through acceptance. It comes through alignment. And alignment often looks awkward before it looks powerful. Many black sheep report this exact sequence. A radical download of purpose, followed by a wave of awkwardness, embarrassment, or even identity collapse. They say things like, I used to know who I was, now I don't. I feel cringy, like I'm trying too hard. I don't feel cool anymore. That discomfort is not a mistake. It is the required destabilization of your old self. It is the in-between stage that separates the curated identity from the embodied one. No one talks about it because everyone is terrified of being seen as a failure. But this is exactly where your future self is born, in the humiliation, the silence, and the confusion of becoming real. And here's what no one wants to say. The death of cool often looks like failure in public. Not because you've failed, but because you've outgrown the false structure that once rewarded your conformity. Your career might stall. Your image might take a hit. You might post something that gets 6 likes when it used to get 600. You might show up on camera sounding unsure. You might create content that makes people unfollow you. That's not failure. That's friction. Friction between your old audience and your new frequency. Let's be honest, the algorithm does not reward spiritual growth. It rewards consistency, predictability, and patterns. But growth is none of those things. Growth is inconsistent. It's jagged. It's disorienting. So, when the black sheep begins evolving, when they drop the act, kill the mask, and start building from truth, they lose momentum before they gain mastery. This is not a flaw. This is a sacred recalibration. And it comes with grief. Real grief. Because the death of cool is also the death of familiarity. The version of you that your family tolerated, your peers praised, or your community supported, that version no longer exists. And there's no guarantee who's coming with you into the next phase. That's why this is so painful. You're not just becoming new. You're losing the world that existed for the old you. You'll question everything. Your calling, your credibility, your identity. You'll wonder why you couldn't just stay palatable, why you had to say that one truth out loud, why you had to burn bridges that seemed perfectly functional. But deep down, you already know, those bridges were never meant to lead you to your destiny. They were only meant to keep you tame. This is why the black sheep doesn't just become the GOAT by doing something great. They become the GOAT because they did something uncomfortable, uncelebrated, unverified. They went into the awkward void of reinvention. They walked through public mediocrity. They looked weird, cringy, and uncertain on purpose. That is spiritual bravery. That is the death of cool. Hi, I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and what you just watched is part of my signature program, the Chosen One series inside School of Soul. This series is not just a course, it's a blueprint for those who know they were different from the start. The black sheep, the scapegoat, the truth teller, the cycle breaker. Inside, you'll discover the family roles playbook, the golden child, the scapegoat, the enabler, the lost child. and how to finally step out of the part you were cast in without consent. How the black sheep becomes the goat, turning rejection into radical transformation and leadership. How to break generational curses and rewrite ancestral contracts so the pain stops with you. And how to recognize and escape modern forms of spiritual and technological targeting, from gang stalking to synthetic synchronicity. This isn't just about survival. It's about awakening, about reclaiming your voice, your lineage, and your destiny as one of the chosen ones. Click the link below to access the full series now, because the role ends the moment you decide it does, and the real script begins with you.